Hello, everyone. I am Heidi Thompson, and hopefully, you should be able to hear me as well as see my screen. So, everyone's just taking a moment right now before we get started to introduce themselves in the chat. So, I invite you to do that if you haven't already. Tell us a little bit about yourself, where you are, and what you do. We got Jessica Berry from Diamond Rose Events in central London. I love London. It's one of my favorite cities on this whole freaking planet. We've got Jacqueline in Atlanta, thinking of wedding coordination. Regina, wedding assistant in Galway, Ireland. We've got Terry from Perfect Planning Virtual Assistants. She offers virtual planning services for individuals and virtual assistants to wedding and event planners. All you wedding and event planners here, if you're overwhelmed and you got too much to do, it sounds like Terry is the person to talk to. So you have Alicia from, I don't know if it's Camarillo or Camarillo branch in Southern California. Ross, you are so awesome. Thank you for sharing that tweetable. And yeah, if you want to share that, go for it. The more the merrier. So you've got AJ from Christchurch, Dorset, a wedding photographer getting his business up and running. Helen from Helen Scott Design, a wedding stationer in the UK. Lakeisha in New Jersey, a wedding planner and ordained minister. People from all over here. This is awesome. And if you are just kind of watching this chat roll by, you can log in to the chat using a chat roll account, using a Facebook account, or using a Twitter account. And that way you'll be able to participate and we'll be able to see you. And you can, of course, most importantly, ask questions. Okay. Can you guys let me know, are you able to see my screen? And are you able to hear me clearly before we get started? Oh, we've got even more people joining us. Hannah from Platinum Planning. We've got Jenny from Vanilla Rose, Wedding Space in Oxford. We've got Nadine, a wedding officiant from Ohio, not far from where I'm originally from in Michigan. Magical Moments, SKC. I find myself saying that a lot. Good morning, afternoon, evening, because I'm so often talking to people in a setting like this where it's you could be anywhere. Hey there, everyone. I think you should be able to see my screen. Be in just a second here. Gotta love technology sometimes, right? But hey, at least it enables all of us to communicate. Okay, and if you could just let me know if you are now able to see. Sorry about this delay here. Just if you're listening to the replay, you'll probably hear me, but we aren't quite live yet. Okay, we are good now. Awesome. We've got Renee from LA here. People from all over. Lisa from the San Francisco Bay Area. I do love that area myself. Rochester, New York. Sheffield, UK. Thank you guys for bearing with me there. Technology can always be a moderate pain, but it does allow us all to connect. So, like I said, a lot of you guys have been introducing yourselves already. If you haven't, please take this time to do that. I would love to know what your name is. Well, I have your names for the most part, where you're based, and what it is that you do, if you haven't shared that already. And you never know, you might just make some awesome connections right within this chat. Amy Gibbs is in Bonnie, Scotland. We are spanning across about 8 or 9 time zones here. This is pretty cool. Okay, guys, I am so excited. So, since you had to bear with me through a little bit of technical difficulties, let's get into it. And as I said before, but you probably weren't able to hear me, if you are not already logged into the chat. You can do it with a Chatroll account, but if you don't have one of those, that's just fine. You can log in with your Facebook account or your Twitter account, and that's just going to allow you to talk to each other and ask me questions, and I'll definitely be keeping an eye out for your questions. Carrie, yes, you were on the webinar last week about wedding fairs. Nice to see you again. All right, so oh, hi Claire in Argentina. Let's get started. So today we're talking about booking more weddings and the 4 steps to finally attracting more couples and booking more weddings. So I have a question for you. What if, instead of struggling to book weddings, you could attract all the couples you need? Because something I want you to take away from this today is that it doesn't have to be this hard. It really does not have to be this complicated. There are easier ways to do this, and I am all about simplifying things. So tell me, what would it mean to you if instead of having to struggle to book weddings, you could just attract them to you and have all you need? What would that do for you in your business? And what would that do for you in your life outside of business? I know for a lot of people this is going to be freedom, right? We all, well, most of us, I don't know, maybe some people don't want more freedom in their life. I don't want to put words in their mouth. But for me, it's all about freedom. And less stress, less struggle, right? And being able to actually have time to have a life. So let's talk about what you're going to learn today. We're going to talk about the one key difference between wedding businesses that struggle and those that thrive. And it might sound surprising, but there is that one key difference. We're going to talk about the 4-step process to booking more weddings, the foundational piece that most wedding professionals neglect that can render your marketing useless. Without this, it's all for nothing. We'll talk about why blogging is so important and what you should write about, and how to make turning potential clients into paying customers a whole lot easier. And who doesn't want to make their life easier, right? Regina saying that, would cut down on stress and worry so much, and Terry is saying she spends so much time looking for clients, and that's the thing, is that's how most of us go about doing this, is actively seeking out clients. But there is a better way where we can bring them to us. AJ and Lee would be able to give up teaching, which is making freedom to work around illness and enjoy my job. That's a big one. So let's get talking about these easier ways. But first, maybe we've never met. Who is this woman talking to me right now? Well, I am Heidi Thompson, and I am the founder of Evolve Your Wedding Business. And my mission is to help simplify marketing for wedding professionals, just like you, so that you can have more freedom and enjoyment in your business. So a little bit about my background, how I got to where I am. I started off when I was still living in the U.S. in nonprofits, running events for them and doing a lot of different marketing for fundraising events. I loved the marketing, loved the events, and managed to get an assistantship with a wedding planner, which I enjoyed, but I knew that even though I enjoyed it and I loved the industry, wedding planning wasn't for me. And I have to give so much credit to the wedding planners here, because There is so much stress and emotion riding on what you do, and too much for my liking. So when I moved over here, I worked in a couple different marketing roles. One, Sendable, which is a social media startup in London, as their digital marketing manager, and a digital marketing manager at University of Cambridge for their English as a second language department, and working with their schools in lots of different countries. And then I started to miss the wedding industry, right? I was doing all of this marketing for different types of businesses, but I really, really loved the wedding industry. And I noticed that there was a disconnect in the UK between what people want, and by people I mean couples, and what is readily available and advertised to them. What is readily available and advertised to them is largely kind of traditional, kind of vanilla, kind of samey. But I kept seeing more and more this trend towards making your wedding more personal, and you may have seen this too. Making it more about you as a couple, and if you wanted to wear a purple dress or a red dress, go for it. So that is why I started the Alternative Wedding Fair, which was a niche wedding fair in London for people just like that, who wanted something different. And I was bringing together these incredibly talented wedding professionals and couples who were just perfect for them. And that's when something kind of funny happened. Not funny, haha, funny as in, I can't believe I didn't realize this. I was spending a lot of time coaching my wedding fair exhibitors because I wanted them to get the most that they could out of my wedding fair. I didn't want this to be the kind of wedding fair that you just show up but you never know the organizer and you either book weddings or you don't. I wanted to make it work for them. And that's when it hit me. Not everybody studies marketing in their spare time. Oh my God! It was such a just light bulb moment. And because I enjoy marketing so much, I had made that assumption. I have no idea why I made that assumption, but I had. And that is when I decided to start Evolve Your Wedding Business and work specifically with super awesome, talented wedding professionals to help them with marketing. So a little bit about what I've done and where you may have seen me. My marketing advice has been featured in lots of different places. Wedding MBA, Rock and Roll Bride, Football Weddings, to name a few, Attire Bridal. And I really owe it all to marketing know-how. Let me just keep an eye on this chat here. Managed to come on with SKC. I expected a British accent. It's so funny. I get that so often. I'll get on a Skype with people and they'll be like, wait, is this Heidi? And won't know what quite to expect. But no, I'm from Detroit. So let's talk about going from struggling to thriving. And there is one key difference between wedding businesses that struggle and wedding businesses that thrive. And those that struggle have not adapted, have not evolved to the new world that we're living in, because things have changed a lot. It wasn't that long ago that all marketing was done through outbound means, and people could only be reached in a few different ways. TV commercials, radio commercials, all of this outbound, like shouting down a megaphone. But then search engines, blogs, social networks have fundamentally transformed the way people purchase products and services. And the problem here is that most wedding businesses are still using the same old, outdated, inefficient marketing methods, and they're not working as well as they used to. Even if they've adapted the newer channels, let's say they're blogging and using Facebook and Twitter, they're still using them in this outdated and inefficient way. The good thing is there is a better way. Inbound marketing, as opposed to outbound marketing, brings clients in to you like a magnet instead of chasing them around and screaming at them through a megaphone. Think about it for a second. When was the last time you bought something based on an outbound marketing tactic, like an ad or a cold call? I bet you can't think of a time. So just to give you a little bit of an illustration here, outbound marketing is very shouting down the megaphone, chasing people around, seeking customers out. Inbound marketing, on the other hand, is creating a magnet that draws people in to you. Just get a quick drink of water here. So the problem is that a lot of wedding professionals just don't know how to adapt to this new way of marketing, because it's no longer enough to just put up a website or get your name out there and hope that someone contacts you. Hope is not a strategy. That's why I created a 4-step process that's going to help you book more weddings. So let's dive into that. Let me just quickly check on the chat here. Regina. Regina says, I think you're giving me your marketing bug. It's awesome. When you can figure out stuff that works, it's awesome. All right, so here's an overview of the 4 steps to booking more weddings, and we're going to go into these each. Step 1 is the foundation. Step 2 is building a blog that draws customers in like a magnet. Step 3 is get couples salivating over the prospect of working with you. They're just chomping at the bit to work with you. And step 4 is getting couples to say I do to you. So a big part of your marketing foundation is defining your ideal client. And your ideal client is the client that you love working with and that you want to focus on working with. Your business is not for everyone. That's completely impossible. Even some of the biggest companies in the world, Apple, one of the most profitable, if not the most profitable company, there are people that hate Apple. And there are going to be people who don't get what you do, who don't like what you do, and that's fine. Because there are people who love what you do, and you want to focus only on the people who it is for. So I have to call bullshit for a second here. A lot of people will say, when I first ask this question, that their ideal client is brides, or grooms, or couples, or people looking to get married. That is nowhere near specific enough. We need to get more detailed, and I'll show you how. But your marketing and your website should focus only on these people, because you just can't make everyone love you. So why waste your marketing effort and your marketing budget on trying to do so when you can focus on your ideal client and you can make that ideal client love you? Now, if you had a heart attack, would you want to go to a cardiologist or a general doctor? I'm willing to bet that you're thinking cardiologist, unless you have a really awesome general doctor. If so, I want to go to that doctor. But your customers want that specialist too, and you can become the go-to person for your ideal client because they want a specialist. If you're known as the go-to planner for quirky, fun, laid-back weddings, people who want that will flock to you. And by identifying your ideal client in that way, making yourself the go-to person for a specific type of person, you're helping them find you. So, I'm going to take a minute, do a little exercise here, and if you have the workbook, there is space in there to write down your answers to these questions. If not, just grab a pen and paper. Because I want you to think about your ideal client. Your ideal client meaning The people that, or the person that, if you could work with this person every day for the rest of your life, you'd be so happy. I want you to tell me in the chat box, number 1, what wedding blogs do they read? Number 2, how would you describe their personal style and personality? And number 3, what brands and products do they love, either related to the wedding industry or not? And if you don't know, that's okay. I want you to take a guess because I just want you to get started thinking about this. Okay, I'm going to hang out in the chat for a few, and I'm not going to move on because I want you guys to really think about this before I do. So let me know, what wedding blogs do they read? How would you describe their personal style and their personality, or their personality? And what brands and products do they love? It's okay to not know. If you don't know, you can take a guess, take a stab. You'll probably be close. Because you know the people that you work with. Okay, so Jessica says for the wedding blogs, her ideal client reads Wedlux and Love My Dress. And that's already giving me a picture of who your ideal client is. Magical Moments SKC, Style Me Pretty and 100 Layer Cake. Renee, Brooklyn Bride, Style Me Pretty and Ruffled. And again, if you don't know this question, take some time and ask. Nice, we're getting some good stuff here. As far as brands and products, we've got a couple: Kate Spade, Sephora, Apple, so that gives you an idea of sophistication, sleek, personal style, professional, modern, glam. And right after, Regina, personal style, cheeky, quirky, romantic, and hilarious. Those are 2 totally different ideal clients. So you're going to want to market yourselves differently. Tracy, okay, so your ideal client is higher end. That tells me about their budget, but tell me about them as a person. Nice. AJ and Lee, boho wedding, green wedding shoes, whimsical wonderland. That gives me a good picture. They're creative, fun-loving, self-confident, quirky. They treasure the artistic value and want something to last. Prefer Events by G. Tell me more what you mean by high-end, because high-end is still a very broad topic. You can have high-end DIY. Oh, I love that personal style for, I still don't know if I'm saying this right, Camarillo or Camarillo Ranch. See, so we're getting a lot of different things here. On one hand, you have someone's favorite brands are Bare Minerals, Anthropologie, Dermalogica, and the others are Kate Spade and Jimmy Choo, right? Those are 2 different types of people. And the great thing is that these brands spend a lot of money on their branding. And we can make use of that because we can help identify the people we're going after based on the brands they love and the blogs they love. Kath Kids, and that is a very specific type of person you're going to get. Jacqueline, tell me, you said they have style. What sort of style? And what about their personality? And you guys, I want to make sure that you're writing this down for yourself as well, because this is going to help you. Sarah's ideal client likes rock and roll bride. They're fun, quirky, rockabilly, gothic, couture, fetish. That's a different person, so obviously you have to adapt so that you're speaking their language. Because like I said, you want to make sure you're attracting them. Ecologically conscious and design focused. Those are two very big descriptors there. I like that, Lucy. Okay, keep them coming, guys, but I am going to continue on. But as you can see, there are so many different types of ideal clients, and you can't just market to brides. Because even just in this chat, look at the variety. So you have to market to them in the way that they identify. You have to speak their language. One site that I think really nails their ideal client is Offbeat Bride. You know the second you land on that site, is it for you or isn't it for you? Because the worst is when you have someone in the middle, when it's kind of, they're all right. You want people to love it or hate it. So this is just a quote from Michelle Novanti, who went through Book More Weddings Academy, and she was feeling really lost and overwhelmed when she first started. Her business was only 4 months old, actually. And after going through the course, she was able to get really focused on the who of she wanted to work with. And that made things so much easier to manage because, as she says, I didn't feel like I was trying to take on the whole world. And I'm getting more phone calls, and sales are so much easier because it's just like talking to a friend. It's actually fun now that it's so much easier. And I'm sure you can identify with this feeling of trying to take on the world. It doesn't have to be that way. You can narrow it down. So let's get into step 2, which is building a blog that draws customers in like a magnet. Now, you've probably heard that you should be blogging. I don't like shoulds. I want you to know why it is so important. First of all, Google loves fresh content, and more blog posts means that your site is going to have more pages indexed with Google, and that really helps your SEO, and it helps you be found. Your blog also helps demonstrate your expertise. Anyone can say they're an expert at something, but you can show it. And I don't just mean by like showing portfolio images. I mean actually like how-to posts, tips on your specific area. Let's say you're a planner, tips about planning a wedding, and also maybe tips about booking other types of vendors. And according to an unbiased survey of over 14,000 people married in 2011 by Splendid Insights, which is a fantastic market research resource, the quote here is, more important than a website is an updated blog. Your website is your business card. Your blog is the conversation. For example, 85% of Ritzy B's clients hired them because of their blog, and then those clients refer via word of mouth. Your blog gives people a reason to come back to your site. I hate to break it to you, but they're not going to keep coming back and looking at the same old stagnant pages. And it allows people to get to know you and like you, which of course is incredibly important because we only do business with those we know, like, and trust, especially on such a high-stakes emotional occasion as a wedding. If you have blog posts, you can use social media to drive traffic to them, and that makes your social media truly useful for your business. I'm not saying it's not useful already, but it really gives it more purpose. And when you have interesting content, your website visitors are going to spend more time on your site. reading it. And that means that they're going to learn more about you, and they're going to learn more about what you have to offer. When you position yourself as a resource instead of just a service provider in just sort of a transactional way, you become much more valuable to your potential customers, and you set yourself apart from your competition because most of them are not doing this. And your website visitors may not be ready to book you yet, but by giving them a reason to come back, they'll remember you when it's time to buy. When you build a blog, you're building an asset, and that is going to bring you customers for as long as you have it. And there are even more reasons. I could go on and on and on about how blogging is one of the best things you can do for your business, but I think you get the point. So, I want to hear from you. When it comes to blogging, now you know why, but people often get stuck on what to write about. So in the chat box, tell me one of the most frequently asked questions people ask you. Your clients before they book you. These are going to make for fantastic blog post topics. So an example of this, for me, I keep a log of all of the questions that I get, and I turn those into blog posts. In fact, there was one I did about how to use Facebook page insights, and that came directly from somebody emailing me and asking me how to figure out what the best time to post on Facebook was. So guess what? I created a screen share video, and the blog post was called How to Use Facebook Insights to Figure Out the Best Time to Post on Facebook. Okay, let's see here. So much awesome conversation going on here. I love to see that you guys are striking up connections with one another. Lucy, the fact that your blog is your website homepage isn't necessarily problematic from an SEO standpoint. From a user experience, I would say it's probably better to have a homepage, because when you have a blog as your front page, it makes it feel like, okay, this is a blog, not necessarily a service provider or a place where I buy things. So just something to think about there, but not from an SEO perspective, no. Jessica says, I'm more creative in the sense I'm great at opening up my imagination and creating something in my head for my client. How would you blog about this? Jessica, is it that you want to write about this process, or I'm not really sure what you're asking here. Can you clarify a little bit? And Jacqueline, I know it can feel overwhelming, but follow what I have to say today, and it's going to put you on the right track. Okay, so Amy, you get the price question a lot. You could tackle that in a blog post. There are a lot of ways you could actually approach that. It could be a why they are priced the way they are. It could be a post about what to expect to pay for different types of cakes. Cynthia, for what are your packages? I'm wondering if you get any specific questions about Cynthia, let me see if I can, I can't, if I can click through to you and see what you do. What type of business you run, it might vary. But you could do a post comparing the two. Like, let's say you're a planner, which I believe, yes, you are, okay. Let's say for a wedding planner, it could be who is day of planning right for? Who is full planning right for? Those could be two different posts, and they're going to be helpful because they're going to pull people in because they're going to be Googling things like that. Terry, congratulations on just starting blogging. And doing a vendor feature is a great idea. You could also do a roundup post of the best in the area. And then what I would suggest doing, pad tweets, is sending an email out to them, not saying, hey, share this. There's something weird psychologically that if you ask someone to share something, they probably won't. But if you just send them the link and say, hey, thanks for being an awesome vendor, they will probably share it. So this is perfect, Helen Scott. For wedding stationery, time scale. How long before do I need to send it out? When do I need to order it? What's the best time to save the dates? Do I need save the dates? AJ and Lee, this is awesome. You could tackle this in a blog post, and I really think you should, about why people shouldn't just get a disc of images. Because if you present it to them in that way, and you could pull together not just what you have to say, but some research there, that could be great. Color palette's another good one. Best place to get married. Renee, I'm not sure I can afford you, is always said. I'm wondering if either you're attracting the wrong ideal client, or are you making your prices, transparent on the site? What's included in day of services? You could do Magical Moments SKC. You could do like a day in you doing day of services and chronicle that. Where to start, that's great. Where to get started with your wedding planning. First 5 steps to take. A mood board. These are great ideas. Renee asks, I started a wedding blog 3 years before my business, which I just started this year. Right now I have an outgoing link. So the blog is on a separate site. Do you think I should merge them? I would say, Renee, if all those posts are applicable to your business, sure. The only time it wouldn't really work is if they're 2 totally different things. Wording for stationery, that's a good one. I worked with a client. We created a little guide for people to download in exchange for their email for a stationery wording guide. Okay, so you want to show them your creative side. You could do that, Jessica. Let me just double check what kind of a business you run here. And I love these ideas. These are awesome. For Events by G, I would not outsource your blogging to an intern. It's too important. If you're going to outsource it, hire a ghostwriter. Okay, so Jessica Berry, you want to show your creativity, and you're a planner and designer. So what I would do for that is take an idea, a theme, maybe a movie that's coming out, and then create an inspiration board around it and show how you did that. So pull pictures from the inspiration and then put it together. And you could even just do this like at your house. And you could take pictures and then show them, like, this is what what's coming out soon, a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles wedding would look like. How important is a table plan? That's a good one. Regina, I can't get you a transcript of the chat, but you can access the chat later if you want to go through it. Carrie Baker asks, is it okay to have a website and separate blog? I would say, and this is really important that they're in the same place, because your blog is doing a lot of the heavy lifting as far as traffic generation and SEO goes. So you want them to be doing that work for you on your own domain. Lucy, you could test it, putting prices on your site if you're attracting people below, or put guide prices like starting at, or our average customer spends between X and Y. Woo! Okay. I think I got through all of it. That was awesome. Oh, definitely need some water after that. All right. Onwards and upwards. So step 3 is getting couples salivating over the prospect of working with you. Every part of your website influences your sales, and that means that the way you describe your offers can increase or decrease your sales. Every page on your site needs to be working for you, from your About page to your Services page. And testimonials can do a lot of the selling for you if you use them properly. The biggest mistake people make when asking for testimonials is just emailing the client and saying, hey, could you give me a testimonial? Or hey, could you give me a review? That's really open-ended, and I want you to think about from their perspective, they don't really know what you need. So instead, I want you to send them a list of questions to answer. You're going to ask them questions like, how did you find me? Why did you choose me? What were you struggling with before you found me? What was working with me like? So that they can kind of tell the story of their experience with you. Then you're going to use those answers to craft your testimonial. You're going to send it to them for their approval and get a photo to add to it. The photo is big because we get more and more skeptical. You know, since when the internet first arrived, we were all a little bit gullible, but we get more and more skeptical, and anybody can just write a testimonial. But if you can attach a face to it, it makes it a lot more believable. Step 4 is getting couples to say I do to you. And the reason I say it like this is because sales is just like dating. Just like dating. And you wouldn't walk up to someone at a bar and ask them to marry you, right? I hope. Then you shouldn't do that to your potential clients. You need a game plan for taking these potential clients from total strangers to in love with you. And that plan is called a sales cycle. Step by step, they're going to move through your sales cycle, getting to know you and love you more and more, and getting closer to being ready to work with you. And the real beauty of having a sales cycle like this is that you can systematize it, so it's simpler to make sales. There are a lot of parts that you can put on autopilot. That means that even during your super busy wedding season, there can be people moving through your sales cycle closer to wanting to work with you without you having to do a thing. You just set it up. So when you have a sales cycle that turns potential clients into paying clients, you can focus on bringing in leads and doing the work that you started this business to do. You can refine it over time so that you're only focusing on marketing where you generate the most leads. And that's going to make your marketing and your life a whole lot simpler. So here is a little graphic of my sales cycle in a nutshell. Just take a drink real quick. So in my business, this is how it flows. So first, just in case you can't see this, I'll read it for you. The prospect discovers me, visits my website. Then the prospect sees one of my free opt-in offers and signs up. And that's the most important part. Then the prospect automatically gets whatever it was that they signed up for. Then the prospect enters into an autoresponder series, and that's just a series of emails that I wrote ahead of time, and it drips them out over time. And those are credibility, and they include opportunities to work with me. After the autoresponder series is finished, the prospect starts getting just my weekly emails, which you may get, with tips and opportunities to work with me. The prospect gets my weekly email for as long as they're subscribed to the list, and even if they never work with me, they're valuable because they're going to spread the word to others. So I'm just going to leave this up for a second. Hannah, that's a fantastic way. That's called price positioning, when you talk about what they save versus what they spent. Well, Lucy, for your price, since they're totally custom, I would say, yeah, starting price, but then I guess you could put the average. Jessica did have someone ask her at a wedding. Oh, awesome. And Lucy, what if you're new and you don't have testimonials? Well, there are quite a few things you can do. You can work with a couple people for a lower rate. You could, and I'm not the biggest fan of discounting your work, but if it's to get the ball rolling, do what you have to do. You could offer them a smaller, scaled back version of what your packages are. Regina, yes, I will take, actually right now, I will take a screenshot of this slide and send it to you. Regina, drop me an email after this. Heidi at evolveyourweddingbusiness.com. So that's a great question. A desk wedding, what type of information do you include in the auto series to build trust? And I'm going to get into that, but you are taking them from stranger to loving you. So you have to think about what it is that they need to know and what they need to understand before you can get them to purchase. And you want to make sure you're adding value with these emails, because a phrase that I love is, who do you trust more, Santa or tax collector? Well, Santa, because he's generous, because he gives. Tax collectors just take, and you don't want to be the person who just feels like they're taking. Pet tweets, I use Aweber for my email. Yeah, you guys can take a screenshot yourself if you want right now. Or just email me. I use Aweber pet tweets. MailChimp is just as good. Lisa, I would reach out to MailChimp support. They have really good support. All right, so this is another image I wanted to show you. And this is the concept of a funnel, but it's pretty much a sales cycle. So the very top, they don't know you exist. Then, yeah, I've heard about you, but they don't really care about you yet. Then they've heard about you, and they're slightly interested, right? So doesn't this seem a lot like, I don't know, dating? Then the prospect compares you to competitors. Then the prospect becomes a customer. So this is a big topic. It's just the tip of the iceberg, but I wanted to give you something actionable. So think about what your prospect needs to know before they book you. What pages on your site do they need to see? What questions do they need answered? Are you in a business that they need to be sold on the idea of having you first? They need to see the benefits of what you can do. So, for example, a wedding planner, the first thing might be unexpected reasons why you actually do need a wedding planner. And then how working with a planner works. You know, all of these issues that you need to tackle one by one, date by date, to get them closer to saying I do. And when you think about it, and think about how much research goes into planning a wedding, I mean, this could be 2 years of research. When people come across your site, they're probably not ready to book you. But if they can go on these little dates with you, once it's time for them to make a purchase, who do you think they're going to remember? They're going to remember you. So what questions do they really need answered? Amy Gibbs, I trust Anna. Yeah, me too. So okay, Regina, that's great. They need to know that you won't take over the process. So what concerns do they have, and how can you address those? That's a great one. Yeah, Regina, and I think that's something that's a perfect example of a misconception that is held, that you have to address that in one of your little dates. Do I have any advice from building a list from scratch? I most certainly do, and I will get into that. But essentially, Lisa, you want to offer something in exchange for their email address. Okay. Move on here. So, do you see how powerful this having a sales cycle and approaching business in this sales is like dating way could be, and this inbound marketing could be if applied to your business? Imagine having the confidence that comes with being in control of your marketing and sales process. So some results to share with you. This is from Ross, who I believe might be on the chat right now. When I implemented what I learned from Heidi, I found that a lot more people were getting in touch with me via my website. Using the process I learned in Book More Weddings Academy, I was able to turn these people into warm leads and then into physical in-person consultations, as you can see here. Dating, then getting married. When you focus on marketing to them over time, you've built a really good level of trust with them by the time you sit down with them. They already feel like they know you, and that makes your job a lot easier because you don't have to go into a hard sales pitch. Nobody likes that. Next, I've got one from Jacqueline, and I love Jacqueline's story. You may have heard it on the podcast. Heidi's Book More Weddings Academy helped me figure out exactly what I was doing wrong in my marketing and exactly how to change it. After going through Heidi's course, I now have confidence in my sales process. I no longer feel like a cheesy salesman, and I'm actually converting more leads into sales. Email marketing is now a very big asset for my business and has been instrumental in booking more clients. Heidi taught me how to blog properly, and now I'm coming up much higher in Google search rankings than my competitors. A year ago, I gave myself a deadline. If after a year I was in the same place in my business, I would close it. Now I'm in such a different place that closing my business isn't even an option. I have my plan now, and I know where I'm going. Now I know I'm on the right path. So let's talk about you. You're obviously here because you want to book more weddings, and you have a decision to make. Are you going to continue doing the things you've always done and get the results you've always got, or would you prefer to take the shortcut and use a well-engineered, proven, step-by-step system for booking more weddings? I want to introduce you to Book More Weddings Academy. So what is Book More Weddings Academy? It is my complete step-by-step system that will take you from struggling to book weddings to attracting and booking all the weddings you need. It's the fastest way to go from struggling to thriving. Book More Weddings Academy is made up of 12 modules that will take you through the 4 steps that we went through to booking more weddings. And there's a lot more to it than just the course. Let's go through the steps. Step 1, the foundation. Module 1 is how trying to appeal to everyone is sabotaging your business. And you'll learn why defining your ideal client can make or break your business, how to find them where they're hanging out and build a marketing plan around that, when to say no to customers who are wrong for you, and an awesome free tool to help you learn even more about them. Module 2 is figuring out what you really sell and why people love you. And when you try to determine what you really sell, it's probably not what you think. We'll talk about how to figure out why people buy from you so you can use that to amp up your marketing, and how to figure out what you're an expert in. And yes, you, my friend, are an expert. We'll talk about how to use that expertise to set you apart from your competition. In Module 3, we'll talk about setting yourself apart from the competition and thinking collaboratively. And in this module, you'll learn how to figure out what sets you apart from your competition, how to use that difference in your marketing so that your competitors don't stand a chance, and how to analyze your competition and identify potential partners, or as I like to call them, business BFFs. In Module 4, you'll learn how to use the KLT factor to book more weddings. And you'll learn how to figure out what sets you apart, the difference. Oh, wait, I think I have the wrong slide here. But anyways, when it comes to the KLT factor, it's the know, like, trust factor. You're going to learn how to let people in, how to let them learn how to get to know you, like you, and trust you, because trust is the most important asset in marketing. Like I said, if you trust Santa more than you trust a tax collector, you definitely want to have a strategy that can help you build trust. So, step 2, as we went over, building a blog that draws customers in like a magnet. Module 5 is part 1 of this. And in this module, you'll learn why exactly it is one of the most important things you can do for your business. I covered a little bit of it here. How to smash through the excuses you may have for not blogging. How the location of your blog can affect the impact that it has. And what exactly to write about. And then part 2 of building a blog that draws customers in like a magnet, you'll learn how to create your simple blogging strategy. How to write great posts even if you don't think you're any good at writing. How to get your blog posts in front of your ideal client once you've published them, and how to measure the success and impact of your blog posts. In step 3, which is get couples salivating over the prospect of working with you, Module 7 is how simple tweaks in the words you choose can increase sales. We'll go over how to improve your sales by tweaking your website copy, and how to demonstrate the value of what you do so you get fewer price shoppers and people are happy to pay what you charge. We'll also cover how to describe what you offer in a way that gets your potential clients excited to buy from you. In Module 8, how to get couples drooling over the idea of working with you, we're going to focus on how to prove that you're a credible professional. You know what you're doing. They can trust you, and you're not an amateur. We'll go deep into how to get those great testimonials that do the selling for you. We'll talk about how to get referrals from your customers, because that is a great source of business. And why you need a great FAQ page, and exactly how to create one. Step 4. Now we're getting into getting couples to say I do to you. Module 9, how to take your customers from the first date to saying I do. We'll talk about how sales is just like dating and what that means for your sales cycle. How to define your specific sales cycle and systematize it so it's easier to make sales. The simple changes you need to make to your website to turn it into a lead generating machine, and the tools and tips you can use to generate more leads. Module 10 is all about lead generation, or how to rock your first date with your potential customer. And in this module, you'll learn how email marketing can really turbocharge your sales cycle, what you should offer in exchange for your potential client's email address. What you offer is going to impact how well you do with this. How to set it up. So if tech is not your friend, that's okay. I'll show you how to set it up so you can start collecting leads. And how to promote your offer so you can build a list of people who are interested in working with you. Not just some photographer, not just some planner, you. In Module 11, it's all about nurturing your leads, making the sale from casually dating to saying I do. We'll talk about what to do with these leads that you're now bringing in, and how to demonstrate how awesome you are while providing value through your email autoresponder and regular emails. And the all-important how to convert your leads into customers and loyal advocates. And number 12, you're going to learn how to track where your customers are coming from so you can focus your marketing on just those sources. How to determine your best traffic sources and what exactly to do with that information. And how to determine what your most popular content, as in your blog posts, is, so you can do more of what works, less of what doesn't. So like I said, it's more than just the course. You're going to get lifetime access to the course, all 12 modules. You're going to get a private members area to access and download your course materials. You're going to get 6 group coaching calls. And actually today I decided to add in a wrap-up call, so that's 7 in total, where I'll answer your burning questions, help you get past any stumbling blocks, and make sure you succeed. This isn't something that you're going to sign up for and never use. I'm going to help you with this. You also get recordings of the group coaching calls, because if we can't make it live, I don't want you to miss out. You can just submit your questions in advance and listen to the recording later. And you'll get access to the members-only Facebook group, where you can connect with fellow students and alumni, ask questions, share challenges, get feedback, and swap success stories. And the value of all that is $1,997, but you're not going to pay near that much. But I'm not done. You're going to get some bonuses, because I really want you to punch overwhelm in the face. You're going to get my super simple blogging system, and it's a full play-by-play of the systems that I use personally every week to produce, distribute, and email blog content to my list. You'll watch every step in my process over my shoulder in real time, courtesy of screencasting. You'll get Wedding Marketer's Toolkit, which is the complete guide to every system and tool that I have running in my business. And you'll find a how-to for each of my favorite tools, including Hootsuite, Evernote, and my personal best friend for life, Buffer. You'll also get your blog promotion checklist. So if you're wondering about how to get the word out about your blog once you are writing, this checklist is going to give you the rundown of everything you need to know about promoting your blog posts, from how to get those shiny new posts in front of your ideal client. And you may have noticed by now, I'm a big fan of making things easier, how to automate it and make your life easier. You'll also get my productivity hacks handbook, and those are my favorite tricks and tips to kick procrastination in the backside and make the most of your time. So all in all, you'll walk away with a proven system in place that brings in new leads and helps turn them into customers for you. A clear picture of who your ideal client is, what they need, where to find them, so you can focus on attracting them and only them. The confidence that comes along with being in control of your marketing and sales process. A sales process that is so much simpler and easier. That means no more hard sales for you. Confidence in where you should focus your time and your money. You get focus here. the know-how to measure what works and what doesn't, so you can do more of what works and less of what doesn't. You will have a mentor, a la me, to advise you, and a group of your peers to support you when you're feeling stuck. You'll have a better, more genuine way to sell that doesn't make you feel like a sleazy used car salesman. You'll have the structure you need to stay on track with your marketing and not fall off the wagon. We are not going to let that happen. And a system for generating more inquiries from potential clients who are ready to invest in working with you on their dream wedding. So I know what you're wondering. How much is this going to cost? Well, what is the cost of all the weddings you're not booking right now? The total value of everything included in this program is $2,385. But you won't pay anywhere near that much. You won't even pay the regular price for people not on my email list, which is $997. You can take advantage of a massive early bird discount of $300 that brings the cost down to just $697. I'm even offering a payment plan to make it easier for you. And you'll recoup the cost of this program in no time and find that it pays for itself time and time again over the lifespan of your business. And for many of you, you're going to recoup that cost in just 1 or 2 additional weddings. I'm also offering a 100% money-back guarantee. If you join Book More Weddings and at any point within the first 30 days decide, hey, this isn't for me, cool, I'll give you your money back. I want you to be happy, and paying for something you don't want isn't going to make you happy. So it's decision time. The early bird offer is available if you purchase before Friday, this Friday, September 19th at essentially the end of the day, 11:59 p.m. Pacific time. And Book More Weddings Academy is only open for enrollment through September 28th. The course begins on the 29th. But like I said, early bird offer only available if you purchase by Friday the 19th. So, to enroll in Book More Weddings Academy, visit bookmoreweddingsacademy.com/join, or just click the button below this video. Once you sign up, you'll get a confirmation and you'll set up your login details for the members area. The early bird coupon code is early bird, all one word, if you're paying in full, and early bird plan if you're opting for the payment plan. Enter either one of those that corresponds with the way you're paying at the checkout, and you're going to get your $300 discount, which is pretty great. So, if you have any questions, please, that's what I'm here for. Enter it in the chat box. Carrie and Regina, you are in luck. If you operate in a currency other than US dollars, you're going to get it for even less due to performance of the US dollar. So let's do a quick conversion. Carrie, if you do the early bird, it will be, excuse me, and I will convert it into euros as well because we had, pretty much if you use euros or pounds, you're getting an even better deal. And those conversions I just provided are off of today's rates. So, as you know, currency fluctuates. It's not going to fluctuate a whole lot, but just so you know. Okay, let's see if we have any questions here. I absolutely love that you guys have been talking to each other and getting to know one another. That's awesome. Regina put a really great tip about 10 minutes ago. A quick tip for blog writing, and I totally agree with this. Sit down and write. Don't worry about editing. Get it all out of your head and then edit. Jessica, I'm really happy you enjoyed it. Carrie the Academy is the 12 modules are all video modules, and they're all in the private members area. And then we are going to have the 6 plus the wrap-up, so 7 group coaching calls. So those will be live. Regina, my pleasure. Thank you. That means a lot to me. Does anybody have any questions about anything I covered or about Bookmore Weddings Academy? I would love to have you guys in there because you're all very lively and fun. Sometimes you do a webinar and it's just like dead. This one, pretty crowd. I'm just putting a link to the sign up page. You can go to this link that I just posted or click the button on this page. I mean, despite having screaming kids in the background, I enjoyed it. Jessica, if they are live, are they based around the time zone in one country? I am planning to run them at 6 p.m. UK time. That is pretty much the same time we started today. If we find that a lot of the members that's not going to work for, we'll change it. Regina, I don't personally have a way to collect everyone's details in here, but if anyone does want to share their pages, go right ahead. You're very welcome, Jacqueline. And don't be shy. If you have any questions, I'm going to hang out here and make sure I answer them, either about Bookmore Weddings Academy or about any of the content we covered in the webinar. I'm an open book. Keep in mind the early bird price is only good through this Friday, which is the 19th, at just 1 minute before midnight Pacific time. And I will go back to those coupon codes should you need them. So I want to make sure you get the discounted price. See, it pays to be awesome and show up to webinars. Carrie, tell me more. How did it go? By the way, if you find that you have a question that comes up after we wrap up today, or at any point really, feel free to email me. Very nice, Carrie. Did it feel better collecting those warm leads? I find that at wedding fairs it feels just weird if you're trying to just sell there. My pleasure, Hannah. I'm really happy you found it useful. Carrie, are you finding that asking them just for their email and their name and I'm assuming like maybe their date, is that helping when it comes to collecting leads? Carrie, it sounds like you were doing what a lot of people were doing, and that's trying to get married on the first date. It really helps to think of it in that way. Carrie, that's fantastic, and that is something. Should you join Bookmore Weddings Academy, you're going to learn how to adapt that into your website because I just think that, I don't just think, I know that this way of attracting people to you and then slowly dating them before you try to seal the deal, it just works. If you want to read about who it's worked for, you can go to the page that I linked to or click that button and you'll see some testimonials. That is fantastic. I'm so proud of you, Carrie. You are an action taker. That's awesome. A lot of people will just ingest information and never do anything with it. And just a reminder to everybody that early bird is available until the 19th, and the course itself, it'll go back to the regular price, but it will be available through the 28th, and the course begins on the 29th. That's when you will get your first module. Carrie, see, it's a great way of looking at it. It's like, hey, let me buy you a drink. Helen, yeah, I can set you up with a replay of the wedding fair webinar. I did it for Little White Books, but yeah, I can definitely set you up with that. Drop me an email. Terry, let's see. Would your academy help me? I'm a virtual assistant. It would. It definitely would. Um, what I teach is okay, so this is a little insight here. It's kind of meta, but it goes back to the whole ideal client thing. Wedding professionals like you guys are my ideal client. However, this works for any business in any industry. Any small business this can work for. So, Terry, it definitely would work for you. And because you would be grouped in with a lot of your potential clients, I think it could be quite profitable for you as well. Amy, we do cover that, trying to decide what the free offer would be, because you're going to find that if you don't hit on something that your ideal client really cares about, they're not going to sign up for it. Oh, and another little tip here, don't ever use the word newsletter. Nobody wants a newsletter. Amy, I wouldn't give a discount. I would give something educational, because the purpose of this whole process is to move them from just meeting you to loving you and want to work with you and wanting to pay full price. This is a great way to get rid of price shoppers. No problem, Terry. Oh, thank you, Jessica. If anyone else is sitting there with a question on their mind, fire away. Add value, yes. Magical Moments SKC. Because when you discount, it implies that it's not worth it. I mean, there are certain types of discounts that work and that serve different purposes, like I'm doing an early bird. Something like that works. Actually, to give a little bit of perspective, my grocery store nearest to me just cut all the prices on produce, and it really got me thinking, like, so I've been overpaying this whole time. It's not actually worth what you said it was worth. It didn't feel like they were doing me a favor. Bye, Tracy. Magical Moments SKC. I'm sorry I have to keep calling you that, but it is a lot to process, and that's why I created Book More Weddings Academy. But the thing is that a lot of it, once you do learn it, it's just like, oh yeah, that makes sense. Thomas, yes, this will be available to watch later. I'll be sending out an email with the link. Thanks, Cynthia. Hi, Buffy. Now I actually have a name. Yeah, the perceived, that's the thing, is price is very psychological, and perceived value is a big part. And you always want your price to be lower than the perceived value, which is why I told you that the value of everything I'm offering in Book More Weddings Academy is worth well over, what was it, 2,600, I mean, it was $2,300. But I'm not charging that much. Yes, value is much more important than price. Amy, that's great to hear. My pleasure, Carrie. Thank you for coming. And if you're here, you're hanging out, you're hesitant about whether Book More Weddings Academy is right for you, feel free to ask any questions to clarify that. And also keep in mind that there's really no risk. There's a 30-day money-back guarantee if you don't like it. Thanks, Regina. I look forward to hearing from you. Okay, guys, I am going to wrap up this webinar. However, I am still going to hang out here in the chat for probably about another 5-10 minutes in case anyone has any questions. Buffy, oh my god, Buffy, you just made my day. Oh, you're at every single email. The modules, Buffy, the modules are video, so that's whenever you feel like watching them. They're on demand. The actual coaching calls, yes, will be at 1 p.m. Eastern, unless we get a bunch of members that that's just not going to work for, in which case we'll change it. Oh, Terry, that makes me really happy. Amy, I'm not sure what you're referring to. Thank you guys for your kind words. Yes, that is the tentative set time, Buffy, for the coaching calls. Pretty much because I just needed to set a time for them, but we'll see if that is a problem. I certainly don't mind changing it.
Okay, guys, I am going to wrap up the webinar, but like I said, I'm going to hang out in the chat for a little bit longer. In case you have any questions, I want to be there to answer them for you. If you need anything, if you have any questions, if, I don't know, you just feel like talking, drop me an email, Heidi, Heidi, at evolveyourweddingbusiness.com. And I really hope to see you in Book More Weddings Academy. Bye for now.